Hi, everybody. I'm Gene,
I'm Francis.
My name is Imani.
and this is the Rising Arts Podcast. As you've already learned, today we have another very special guest, because all our guests are special, but Imani is extra special. If you saw our last video with artist Christiana Berg, she was the first artist to come through our doors and put her work in the building to be exhibited. Before the building was even done being set up, Imani was the second. So thank you again for allowing us to show your work and believing in us and what we were trying to do, with the studio and the shows that we did there. How are you?
I'm doing good. Everybody's like going through a lot with so much going on, but I'm feeling like
so much.
Definitely, it just also makes you like kind of get inside yourself and like think about yourself and what you need during these times, because you can't really be out there and doing too much. But if you kind of internalize like what's going on and how it affects you and the people around you, you kind of channel it into
Introspective time.
Yes.
Introspective time.
Very
Do you think it's kind of driven you artistically with that time and just kind of
It's giving you more.
Yes, and you guys will see with my art, it's a lot of like crying faces and a lot of tears, because it's an emotional time, honestly. And I'm not like the type that expresses my emotions with others a lot.
Right.
But like, I like to really channel it into my art and like use emotion to be shown like through my art.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Expression.
So, one of the things I remember was just seeing your work and the use of materials.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing was garbage. Like one great piece was on the back of a calendar, the office desk calendar. Great piece. And I don't know when we were hanging it, I just saw the back of it and I was like, wait a minute. She was like, yep. Use it, like use anything. So there's no
recycled
excuse.
material.
Yeah, like it's no excuse to not do it. Like if you have whatever you have in your house, use that.
Yes.
If you just have pens and paper,
Art.
use that.
Do it.
But it doesn't devalue the work.
Right.
If anything, it made it more valuable.
Yes, of course.
So I just like recalling some of the first interactions we had.
I remember. I think it was our first art show. You did good for your art. She did so good. I think she was one of the only artists that literally had sold so much stuff during the time. It was so insane. And I think my daughter was there. She was like, I want to buy this and that. And I'm like, oh, okay, calm down.
She was into that room. So she was one of the artists that had a room. Like we had the open, front area. You actually had photography out in the main area, but she had her own room in the front, which was straight ahead of the front door.
Yes.
And there was a lot of traffic in and out of that, 5x6, room.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff sold. And you had fashion, you had art.
Yep.
It
Fashion,
was really
art.
sweet.
Everything.
It was really sweet to curate like your own room. Like
Yeah.
I love doing like interior design and stuff at my own house. So it's just like perfect to be able to like have a setting where it's like you set a like mood for people to be.
And it was so cute though.
Yeah, in retrospect, I couldn't have really saw, like you were the only person that could have really made full use of a room, because other people would have just hung stuff on the wall, which is fine, but there would have been nothing else to it. It would just been stuff on the walls. But I mean, you had the table. You had items on a stand on the floor. Like there was just so much.
She was laminating work, so if you wanted like any of the
prints,
work, the prints,
I mean,
she had her own laminating machine.
One-stop shop jewelry.
Yep.
Had it all.
Little fashion jewelry.
A lot of things like that whole like it's like the gala or a gallery or something like that. I think that all comes from two things. One being my grandmother always was one to have like stuff out on her porch for people to come up and like kind of like see stuff that she didn't want anymore and like get like $3, $2, whatever. And then also the second thing is I've recently been to a lot of shows, and a lot of people are doing that. They're not just doing one type of art or one type of style of work, and also like the reusing of like different things,
repurposing.
That takes me back to like when I was little, just finding little rocks. Like it's like finding little gems. It's like,
right.
And then when the person purchases it and they find out like the little details about it, like that makes my heart like, that's what I want.
Yeah, you're like, that's me right there going.
No one else thought that. No one else used materials from like 5th grade art project or like glitters from the craft store, or you would just never know.
There are very few artists that were kind of like a mixed medium where they put other things on the canvas for texture, not just paint. It's kind of like paper and, you know, cut out pictures and integrated that into their piece of work. So
you use that technique.
Yeah.
A lot.
She was one,
especially
and then
my recent one.
Jolene Pippin was another one.
Yes.
The textures were ridiculous. Like just all, I mean, she had beads and like it was just so much going on, but it was something to really like look at. So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's everything I remember about my first impressions of you as an artist was just, this is unlike anything I've ever really seen before. Like it was very unique, the way it was done, the way you had a story for every paint, where like what your train of thought was, where it came from, what it's about.
What's funny about that is because like a lot of my art and different things that have like jewelry and clothing and stuff, it doesn't really have like an initial start, like an initial way of going, but as I bring things together, it's like really, I feel at peace when I'm doing that.
Right.
Like I'm a Virgo, so it's like we try to get everything done, make sure it's done, think about the little details so it can not be no faults in it, nothing wrong with it. And when it's art, you can't really do that. You can't really be like map everything out. Like if you do, it's not authentic in my opinion, but if you consider your art, like if it's mapped out, then that's your art. That's also a way of doing things. But
yes, everybody has their own way of doing their own artwork, but
feel like
whatever works for you.
Sometimes it's satisfying to have a plan and sit down and do something and do it the way you thought it out. But at the same time, to sit down and pretty much formulate a thought into what's on the canvas without really knowing what what it is, and then once you get it there, you're like, oh, all right, I know where I'm going now. Let me take it all the way this way. Like it's just a whole bunch of different ways to approach it. But I kind of from a music standpoint, sometimes I sit down and I have a melody and I'll record it in my phone and I'll sit down and I'll just bang it out. And it's cool, but sometimes it's nice to just run into things.
Yeah.
Just sit there and run into things. Yeah. So
just kind of like throwing stuff at the canvas and then
see what sticks. Yeah.
Okay, good.
That happened.
That looks like this. Like it looks like an eye, or it looks like a something.
Yeah. It's getting there.
It was like a playground, basically, a sandbox.
Because I used to be like think that art was only that way, where you had to have a whole concept on the before you even start, and that used to that caused anxiety in me, so I had to take a step back.
Because there's you have expectations on you.
And it's only yourself,
right?
Yeah, it's only yourself.
That's hard
stopping
enough.
You from
that is hard.
Doing.
That is really hard. Like that
no
is
one
really.
Could be as hard
you
on
will
you
than
you.
You will kill yourself before
me.
Takeoff. Like you will knock
we know that very much.
Yeah. So
we know that a lot.
How many times we false started and just keep thinking things out. Oh, let's plan. Let's do it. Let's think about it. Let's just do it.
Yes.
That's where we are right now.
Just pick up a pencil, get on the computer, do whatever you do. Just do it.
Yes.
Somebody at work last week said, "Oh, I'm thinking about starting a podcast, but I don't think people want to hear me." And this, I was like, "Just get on your phone and record it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Put it out there. What's the worst that happen? Nobody will watch it."
Oh well,
at least you tried.
Exactly.
You tried it. You did it.
That's gonna be my thing this year. With everything going on, even though you could spin it, it's been a very negative year.
Pretty
but
much.
At the same time, it's been the birth of a lot of things, or the rebirth of a lot of things, like just pushing people to be more creative and learn how to be creative in this climate and environment. And everything. So
yes.
And so you have we talked a little bit about it, but what do you actually use for your artwork? What kind of materials? What do you prefer one medium over another? Do you smash it all together and make your own thing? What is it that inspires you to
I usually start with something that I haven't recently started with. Like, if I start with acrylic one time, then I'll start with watercolor another time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, kind of push myself to, like, create something that I haven't recently done. Like, I like concepts, but I like for all of my pieces to be separate in their own way.
Okay.
Like, if someone looks at one of my art pieces, I want them to be like, wow, that other art piece is by that same person. Like, so I've recently, though, been starting with just acrylic paint and just kind of, like, doing different shapes and then, like, adding on to that. Like, I'll cut out stuff and then paste it on top and then paint around the cutouts or, like, different things. A lot of it is collage, though. I would say, like, I would categorize as collage because I use so many different things, like, by the end of it.
Okay. And that's awesome.
That is a good way to describe some of, yeah, absolutely.
And markers, just to clean it up. Like, a lot of people, like, are really good steady hand, like, painters. I'm not.
I try. I see these people doing all these beautiful brushstrokes, and I'm like, man, I would love to know how to do that. And then I try doing it, and I'm like, why?
Why is my hand doing this?
Or why is it so thick?
But when I watch her paint, and then I'll try, like, I painted side by side with her before, and I'm looking at her like, what the? Like, these thin, straight lines and circles. I'm like, what the hell? My lines are all fat, and, like, you see brush strokes all outside of the line. Like, so it's relative.
Yeah.
It's relative. But at the same time, those unique things in your style make it yours. You know what I mean? Like,
it makes it your own artwork.
Yeah.
Other style. People would be like, that's not really art. Is really art to you.
We talked about that last week.
In the last session that we did talk about it.
Like, oh, that's not art. I think Christiana was referring to her love for anime art, and that she actually liked to do that style of art when she was in school, and one of her or several of her teachers just dismissed it. Like, that's not art. Like, why would you say anything anybody created is not art?
Right.
Whether it's your bag or not, that's one thing. But why would you say somebody's work is not art?
Right.
Like, that's the most. Especially coming from another artist, like,
that's horrible.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean,
they could say it's not expressive, but they can't say that it's not art.
Right. Like, everybody has their own way of expressing themselves, whether they use acrylic, whether they use watercolor, whether they use mixed media. And whether they create a dot on a piece of paper and they're like, here you go, this is my art.
Or tape a banana to a wall.
You can't say it's not art. That's what that person considers is their artwork. So you can't can't knock a person.
It's all relative.
What they do.
In music terms, I always say, like, I have some pretty eclectic taste in music.
Yes, he does.
And I know I'm not the only fan of the people that I listen to. But everyone around me hates the people I listen to.
That's usually how it goes.
So I'm like, all right, well, that's the beautiful thing in music, because a million people could hate it, a million people could love it, and y'all listen to the same exact thing.
Exactly.
Like, you hear and perceive and listen and just everybody feels a different way about things. But to trash it, and I'm guilty of that as well. I try not to do it when it comes to music. Like, stop saying that's garbage.
Yeah.
Somebody took time. And no matter how meaningless the lyrics are, they wrote it.
Yeah.
They took the time to write it. They sang it, rapped it, did whatever. It's work. I should not knock other people's work, regardless of how hard I think they worked on it or whatever. It's still somebody's art. And you got to kind of have a baseline of respect. I think, like, there needs to be a baseline of respect where you can at least say, acknowledge this person that they did something.
Right.
Because
for
every song I trash,
that's
negative songs that I put out. Like, so I can't really, like, trash it. And the same thing for art. Like, I wouldn't, like, everybody that bought artwork in our studio, I wasn't, like, head over heels about it all. But you can find beauty in everybody. I try to find something in everyone's work that is pleasing to me. And I think if you look hard enough, your eyes are open, you will find it.
Yes, you'll find something. Yes, definitely. I agree.
That's why I really love art, because it can be a treasure for anybody who looks at it.
Yeah. And I think from what you were saying, like, some people don't think it's art. I think turning the concept and the way art is viewed or thought of, like, when you say, oh, I like art, people automatically have this one perception, this white room, pictures on the wall,
Yes.
people with their pinkies out.
Yeah.
Like it's
No.
it's not
Like,
yeah,
like,
it's not always like that. That's not art for everyone.
That's not quite us.
There's so many different branches of art.
Yes.
And it can be done in so many different ways.
I think our studio, the artwork that have come through our studio that we have shown and have put out there and have introduced other people to, I love it. I think it was great. You know, it was
good variety
different.
Of styles.
Everybody had their own style.
Yeah.
There was a variety of different artists and their techniques and what they used and put out there, but it was all put out there and we were all a group, we were all a team, everybody did great and we showed it, you know, and it was just amazing. I mean, to me, that is the kind of gallery I love. I mean, because it's like homey.
I mean, an environment geared towards getting artists names and work out.
Yes.
And ultimately selling their work and the artists making 100% of what they sell.
Yes. We
is
whatever Imani sold, that was hers. Yeah. It was all her work. So
we've heard a lot of the experiences of the business side of art is a little it's
weird.
Yeah, it's
tricky.
A little strange.
Tricky.
I have not experienced that firsthand, but dealing with artists, you just hear about some of the things.
Yeah.
But just trying to talk people out of being discouraged to doing stuff with us, we have to lead in with we do things a little different. It's a little different.
It was one of those.
Yeah. When you tell them like what we do, they're like, all right, what's the catch?
Yeah. What do you want?
What's the catch? How much is it?
We don't want.
Just come
really want
bring stuff.
I was gladly going to give
up.
whatever it took just because of how you guys involved me into it, like how you got me started into it, like just saying like, okay, you know, it's just local artists, we're trying to get it out there, you know, we're trying to let everybody be their individual people but together. So that really drew me in and was like, all right, like I was living in Jersey at the time and I was not finding anything, like no place I could call like somewhere they're like, oh, that's not art. You know, like those places where it's like, oh, yeah, we welcome everyone, but just not you.
Send examples of your work. We'll get back to you. This and that.
Like, we'll let you know. We're like,
no.
Like, you can't have clay figures, but you also can't have this.
And there's the other side of it where some artists foster that type of environment because when we approached some, it was almost like, I don't think you're looking for me. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think you're looking for. Maybe you can ask this person. Like basically, their art was just too
high.
Yeah, to sell.
And it's okay. It's okay. I mean, we've had a lot of people that we've talked to or try to reach out to. We don't want anything from you other than to help you or to put your work so that other people can see it. You know, and so we can share what you do out there in the world. Some people just was you know, whatever.
So with all that, how do you feel about? Because honestly, outside of our place, like our place was our jump into the art world, as it were. Like we've always created. Like this is our place. You know, we've just everything we had at the studio. It came from here. Like we already had that stuff. Right. So it's like, how do you feel about the art scene in this general area? Period. Like I know you're in PA now. It's a lot more going on that side of the bridge. When you were here in Jersey, what was your experience and how do you think the art scene in Jersey can be built upon? Because I'm not going to say there's no art scene because there is. But how can it be built upon and brought more to the forefront? Because honestly, unless you dig for it or you hear about it from somebody, it's not up front. Like I couldn't tell you, I only know of one art gallery that's within this area right now. It's downtown Camden.
Yeah, the downtown stuff.
What is it called? Fire.
I don't
is it
even
the Firehouse
know.
or? I'll look it up. We'll reference it here and put their link in there because they've been around for a bit and they do spoken word. They do live music. They have art shows and everything. And I have a few artists that I've reached out to that have shown there. But that's the only place I really know about in the Camden, Cherry Hill general area.
Yeah,
that's like an art space where people can show, perform, you know, and put their work out there. So, what could be done to build and make the community more present, I should say, in everyone's eyes, and kind of open people up to coming to more events like that?
I think that's really hard to say because I feel like it should be a community like thing. Like everybody should want like a way that everybody can express themselves in their not so daily lives. Like
Right.
something that's different than oh yes sir, no ma'am type situations. Like I've known of the art scene because you had asked me like the art scene that I know of in Jersey, and the only one I know of is like some weird place, and it's like a strip, and it's like a lot of like antique shops and like that type of thing where everything's upsailed because it's a greater value,
Right.
or like it's a remake of something that was historically great. So like that's more of the scene in Jersey. It's more of like fancier, I will say, because of the whole New York scene.
Right.
And I think a lot of like Jersey's trying to be like some of the New York that they know of.
Right.
But there's some parts of New York that are like more local, and like artists from like the whole community come in. But Jersey just hasn't developed that yet, I don't think.
So has it been? You think it's been a more welcoming environment in PA as far as going to events, and what has your conversations been like with some of the artists at some of the things you've gone to since you left New Jersey?
Well, I would like to say I have yet to meet like a more welcoming like company than you guys.
Aww.
Like I'm not even just saying that. Like
Right.
there's like everyone's like so professional and don't really make it like a family type situation. They kind of want it to be
like more business.
Yeah, you need to pay this, da da da.
Right.
But some of that, it's like they kind of once you get past that part where it's like the business part.
Yeah.
In PA, it's like there is a like family kind of thing situation. Like there's a lot of events that I've done in the past like several years where it was like, okay, at first I had to put up like I'll say like $25. But then it's like I sold that a lot because it was a community-based thing and everyone's looking to at least get one piece. So it's like if you only have like 10 artists and their work on each wall, it's like you can calculate how much foot traffic you're going to get.
Yeah.
And every person will at least sold at least 2 of their items, their art.
Which is good.
Right. Yeah,
So,
that's
we have
pretty
had
good.
shows where artists sold nothing.
Yeah.
But at the same time with us, they didn't lose anything.
No.
You know?
Right.
All you lost was your time, and we try to make it as good a time as possible.
Yeah.
And just enjoy each other's company and each other's work and just hang out. But
I want to say that I think we bought a piece from like
everybody
who's come through our studio. So I know I said that probably in Christiana's work, but it's true. I mean, you know, you find something that you like from all your artists that have come through and have shown a piece or anything like that, and you're like, ooh, I want that.
Yeah.
And once
that
you have
one's
an
mine.
eye for art, it's like you kind of like look for it everywhere, and you're like, oh, you can see art in everything.
Yes,
like, it just takes one
definitely
opening. Like it's really a spiritual situation. Like
so. Speaking of spiritual situations, what inspires you to do your work? Where do you get your inspiration from?
A lot of it comes from like different things. It's a lot of the times I would say like this is me self-reflecting, but hard times and struggles and things that I don't really want to say to anyone, but I want to get out.
Right.
Like that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from, but it also comes from just like the beauty in everything. Like I have an eye for everything. Like everything interests me, from stocks and bonds to like flowers outside, like anything. You know,
thrift shopping.
Thrift shopping.
Yes.
I really rarely shop like retail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell them a little bit about the YouTube episodes that you have and what you thought.
My YouTube is MME Faith Haiku. I do a lot of different stuff on there. I do makeup, thrifting, DIYs, a lot of stuff. I've kind of taken a little step back from that because I haven't really felt motivated in that direction. Like, because filming and editing, you know the whole process.
Yeah.
Y'all know about the whole process.
Yep.
So it's just, I kind of took a step back, but I have a lot of stuff on there that I think is very valuable, especially my thrifting. I'm also doing a lot of like clothing stuff behind the scenes. I'm working with a company called Juicebox Banchu Clothing.
Okay.
I do tie-dye like a lot, as you guys can remember.
Yes, I remember.
My items
whole
there.
Outfits like
tops, bottoms, socks.
Yep. Yes, I know.
I'm working specifically on my own like tie-dye sock line right now.
Okay.
I'm kind of doing like concepts and like kind of having like little emblems on like the sock part and stuff like that. So, but with Juicebox Banchu, I tie-dye and they print their different prints on there. It's more of like streetwear.
Okay.
So they do different designs and stuff. Eddie Banchu and Dev Orange Juice, they kind of collab together to make a press company where they press things on the t-shirts, cotton t-shirts.
That's cool.
And so they have a Store Envy Juicebox Banchu at storeenvy.com. So if you want to see like our collabs, we do a lot of collabs on there. They actually just this is like not even out to the public yet, but
you heard it here first.
You got it. We got it.
They just told me that they wanted me to bring back out some of their old designs, and they're already printed t-shirts, so now I'm just tie-dyeing the prints they're all one of a kind, because they were like a whole section of their like website at one point, and then they only had one of each one left.
Wow. So original wearable art.
Nice.
Originals of all stuff, and a lot of stuff can be like for Halloween. I know Halloween is coming up. It's like kind of scary, kind of anime type.
Right.
It's really cool. So if you want to see more about that, definitely check out like some links below.
Yeah, we'll have some links down below.
All the links will be in the description. Definitely give that a shot. That should be something exciting, because you see most of the time you see, especially like fashion or streetwear or anything dealing with art, it's usually like sneakers. I feel like it's not always fashion. So seeing that, that's one thing I miss about the 90s. Yeah. Like clothes had big prints and pictures on the back and things on the sleeve. Like I used to love stuff like that. But now everything's very plain. It's either one color or just a little logo or whatever. Yeah. Like it doesn't need to be gaudy to be artful and expressive and kind of be on a garment. So I do kind of miss that. Like we had a conversation about Mark Echo and how he wasn't like an actual graffiti artist, and people that do graffiti are kind of like offended that he achieved the success that he achieved. And I used to wear his stuff. I did because it was hot. Like it was so hot, but at the same time, it was tough. You can't knock his hustle, because he knew there was a market that was not filled.
He tapped
into it. There was a huge market that was not filled. But it's unfortunate that the authentic artists didn't have the resources, the money, the mindset to kind of go forward and do that. So hopefully that's where it's gonna lead you. That's so fun.
So awesome. It's so funny that you bring up graffiti, because a lot of people like compare my art to graffiti a lot. Yeah. Like my actual like acrylic paintings and stuff like that.
I mean, graffiti is kind of like, if hip hop is your first language as far as music, then graffiti is your first language as far as art. Because when you're growing up, you saw it everywhere. Yes. Subways, everywhere. Walls, overpasses, all in the neighborhood, music videos, on the actual street. Yeah, I mean everywhere. And then at the parks, on the basketball courts, like it was just a part of the environment. So to me, that's like a piece of home, but art at the same time. But I don't know if we really looked at it as art back then. But it was definitely a part of the environment.
It was just always just there.
Yeah, it was just always there.
And now it's like, now that I'm more of an adult and that my mindset is like, okay, I'm more mature now. You're like, that definitely was art. Yeah. You didn't appreciate it back when you were younger because it was just always there. But now that you're older, you're like, that definitely is art. You can appreciate it more. So absolutely.
I think one of the first exposures I had to like art as a kid was in Camden on Imani from Avenue, going into Haddon Avenue, where Haddon Avenue and Imani from meet. There was this long wall.
Yes, there was artwork on the wall. Right. Yep, I remember.
And there was black people.
Yeah. Yep.
In like a jungle setting type of thing.
Yep. I think they might have. I don't know if they've painted over it.
I haven't been over that way. Like, because they changed that whole intersection there. And I think the last time I went there, I was like, what the hell is going on? And I ended up going back around.
They changed it, yeah.
But that was one of the first times, like, our bus used to ride by there every day. I remember the first day, like, it was there, and I was like, wow, like, and it was like this long, like, the wall is at least a quarter of a mile.
Yep.
Like, it's a long wall, and I was
was
just like, wow. Not ever really, I didn't have family members that lived in Philly or went to Philly very often, so I wasn't really familiar with the street art thing at all. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing when I was that age. But what do you think the inner cities could do more? Because I know Chester has a embattled inner city, let's say.
Yeah.
Camden, the same thing. Lots of parts of Philadelphia. How do you think art can help bring people into a more creative and constructive environment? What do you think? What do you think that looks like? Because I know our idea was pretty much starting. We were supposed to do it this spring, but all this.
Thanks, COVID.
All this, but our idea was just to literally have a sandbox set up where there's music equipment set up in one room. There's easels and, Francis in another room. There's, somebody crafting something in another room, and they can just go do whatever they want because they may have the desire to do it, but they're not being encouraged.
Right.
They feel like they feel like they don't have the materials, but they have old things sitting around that they could use. So somebody like you would be helpful, and that's pretty much what it's.
Yeah.
What do you think we could do to take that even a step further, to kind of start building the art community from that age to where it kind of becomes the normal? Because I don't think it's normal for people now. Like, I think people like either you're an art person or you're not. Right. But I think everybody's an art person. They just don't know it.
They just
they just don't know it.
They really don't. They always What do you think?
So I kind of just think that it starts with like the parents though. Like, it's really hard to like even get teachers and stuff to like teach the kids that they can express themselves. It does start there too. Like, if you can't go from the home, I would start with the schools. Because that's where they're going to be majority of the time.
I think that's the void we're trying to fill, because a lot of schools don't have art programs. And
they need somewhere to go, like after school.
After school, weekends, whenever.
Yeah.
So home, school, definitely. I know how important family and parents encouraging what you do is. So even if they don't kind of buy the materials and do all that, maybe they'll hear there's a place where they can go do it.
Yes. Right.
And they'll bring them. So even if they take just that step, then I think that's helping, because the kids now are going to become parents. But now we're not dealing with a blank slate. We have somebody who grew up in a creative situation and had people that helped them create and kind of find themselves as artists, and they will raise kids that will do it. So that's the cycle I envision.
Right.
So the initiative I want to start is, the idea I have is one block at a time.
Yeah.
So it's a one block at a time initiative, and we're going to pick a town, a city block, and we're just going to, invite people. If you have kids, it's free. Just bring them.
Yep, just bring them, drop them off. Just bring them. Stay.
And we will literally go one block at a time.
And
do that until we get a community, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow. But I think more of that, instead of the art studio as an institution where people show their work and the studio makes money.
Right.
It's like a cycle. It's like a bad cycle. Like, everybody wants to make money. I get it. Artists deserve to be paid for their work and everything, but it has to be more than it needs to be more than making money on your work. It needs to be about fostering other people, inspiring others to come out, A, to support, and B, to start their own.
Yeah, so I don't know what people thought when we were like doing our galleries. If you didn't want to buy anything, you didn't have to buy anything. Right. But basically, it was more of a, here's my artwork, come look at it. I just want to show you what I can do. Here's what so it was more of a
or
come out,
come have a drink with us.
Have a drink. We had drinks out there, and but it was more of just a come look at, check out our artists, check out their work. It wasn't more of a, hey, you need to come pay when you come in, or you're gonna come. You know what I mean? It's more of a, hey, come hang out with us. Come check it out. Yeah,
like,
come look.
What's going on with you?
Come check out Imani and her lovely work.
Thank you guys.
That
so
room.
That room.
Yeah, we left that room set up for a bit after the show.
Yes.
And when we do paint events and things like people
like,
were
still
just wandering in there like, oh, like, what's this?
Who did that? And they would be looking like, oh, that's nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
I love, like, that's definitely, like, the fact that you guys even let me come and do that. That is what's going to draw, like, different people to want, like, the feeling of home, like, the feeling of these are people who genuinely are interested and intrigued by what you're doing.
Yeah. Right.
It's like the core of community. You know what I mean? Everybody has to kind of encourage and help and build each other up. There's going to be that person that's at an art show and frowning on other people's work. There's going to be that person.
But there's that kind of person everywhere.
And everything do.
Everything in life that you do, there's always one person at least that says.
So we're discussing an outdoor art show.
Yes.
We're gonna get the details together for that because
we will. That'll be coming up
with
soon.
all the restrictions with indoor events and how many people, this and that. I think it'd be nice to have an outdoor thing where things can be spread out,
spaced out enough for people to come walk around,
and kind of see what people have to offer. Yeah. So through these episodes, as we meet artists and get caught up with artists that we already knew, we can kind of put something together and have something for everybody to come and see really soon. So more details on that coming. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's coming.
Is there anything else you want to let us know about that you're doing? Anything going on in your life?
I'm just gonna kind of like go down like the different stuff that's been going on. Like I said, the whole thing with Juicebox Bound 2. That's been a thing, and also just like I've been cranking out a lot of paintings, like a lot, and then as well as I'm going to start selling my collection of jewelry.
Okay.
So I'm gonna sanitize them. Everything's gonna be cool with them, so don't worry. I know COVID and all that, but definitely gonna be sanitizing them, kind of like, styling them with outfits and kind of making it a whole thing for each person.
Nice.
Yeah. So
nice.
It's a lot of things up in the air right now. And stuff like this, just going out, like seeing how people I've been connecting with in the past are doing, like how you guys are doing. Like,
so a couple things. We did the art shows at the studio, but then there are other times where we went out and did tables at a farmer's market and just had things. Imani came down on her own time and set up stuff and sat with us.
Set up my stuff.
Sat with us out in the hot sun.
Yeah, that was,
and I would do it again.
And helped us promote our studio and what we were doing. So I have pictures of all that stuff, so I'll be floating it on the screen as we talk about it. But
posted that on. I should have tagged you guys, but it was like, remember this day last year or 2 years ago or whatever. And I was like, wow, like just seeing us out there, like really like trying to get it out
going.
There.
Yeah.
People were really looking,
Wow.
I
would say
this is in the community.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you guys are here. We're like, yeah, we're here. We're a thing.
Been here.
We're a thing.
Yeah. So that was in Palmyra. We are in Pennsauken now.
Yeah.
Next time over.
Yeah. This is where we are located, and we reside. So it kind of works out a little better. We still have people in the Palmyra community that support us heavily.
Yes.
From day one.
Yes.
So thanks, Jeannie.
Thanks, Maria.
They've supported every single thing we've ever done.
And they
continue to.
They're still waiting
online and waiting for us to start doing events again. So we're really not. We are anxious.
We're coming.
We're anxious, but we're not in a rush. We want everyone to be safe. We want our kids to be safe.
Yes.
And we want to do it where our conscience is free to focus on what we're there to do. Right. We don't want to be like worried about everything we touch and who's next to you and all that. Like we just don't want to have that. So that's why I think the outdoor event will be a great
that's coming
place to start. So we'll get that together.
And Imani, you said you're gonna
help.
Come show.
Whatever you guys need. Even not even just for me to show my art. I can definitely get the word out there. I've had a lot of connections over the internet recently because that's what all we can do.
How big has that been, man?
Yeah.
That's been huge.
That's been huge connections to the internet. And I know a lot of people who they're like, wow, like you were a part. They didn't even know from my past. I had to bring it back up. Like we worked together and we came out with some good stuff together. And they're like, wow, like you just kind of have to keep refreshing.
Yeah, refresh your people.
Refresh your people. Like sometimes it's not like just your family. It's just people you talk to on a daily basis that you may not even think they're into art. But you'd be surprised the conversations you have when you just bring it up. Like, people got to start, like, just bring it up. Yeah. Like, getting a little in touch with it.
I think, for me, I won't speak for anybody else, but for me, it's not that I don't believe in my work and the stuff that I do. Because I enjoy what I do.
Exactly.
I can watch and listen to the stuff I do. I know. I appreciate it. My wife is super supportive of everything I do. But, like... The biggest thing is like my concern for how people will judge it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people's thing is like, oh, well, you're just another person. What makes you think, you know what I mean? Like
it's sad.
And that rings in your ear, in my ear for so long, it beats you down and you kind of take yourself out the game before you even end.
Before you even start.
So, the best part about this is just you're at the point of, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it.
And that's
if you don't like it,
all this going on.
Just keep scrolling, do whatever you do.
That really opened me up. Like anything can happen in these months.
You never know.
You never know. So this your time to get it all out there. Like,
get it out.
Work
if you
together.
got stuff you just been sitting around from
I
don't know how old it is. I don't care how old it is. If you have it and you want to show it in a non-judgmental environment,
let us know.
That's pretty much what we're all about. So
speaking of showing, are you also doing commission work?
Yes, I am doing commission work. I've done I'll say 3 pieces this year.
Okay.
Which is a lot for me because I used to not get any commissions at all. But yeah, I'm open. If you're only open to like me doing it in my style, like I know people like things like a specific way, but like I will say if I'm going to do a commission, like we can work together. It's not, I can't just do it your way because I'm an artist and I have to put like my way into it. Not just that, but I have limitations with certain things I can do, and I'm being honest. Like I'm not a realistic, like 100% realistic artist, like where it's like you can see the sweat dripping off their hair and stuff like that.
What?
I am not like that. But like, like if you wanted something like
unique,
yes, get at me, get at them.
If you're trying to get something to accent a room,
yes,
that is not like you're gonna go buy a painting at IKEA or something like that.
This is all like
not nothing against IKEA, but like
trust me, we love IKEA.
Yeah, it's very mainstream artwork that they have there. Pictures of streets and cityscapes,
right?
Pears, apples,
right.
If you want something
unique,
that's
one of a kind,
you want like actual art,
limited edition.
But with that being said, I recently had done a portrait of a family, but I just switched it up because of course they're gonna focus on like just like how they specifically look in the picture. I wanted it to be like all encompassing. Like it was supposed to be a fall scene because the background was all like leaves and stuff like that. So I basically just made it like you see their silhouettes, and if you know them, you know them. Like, not just their face and it's just there. It's kind of like their silhouettes, Oh, that must be so-and-so. Like, the person, it was supposed to be for their parents' home. And, like, just a little painting that they could have.
Right. And who would know your silhouette better than your parents?
Family.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
I wanted it to be something that it's, like, a little special.
Like not them, but a representation of them. Yeah.
No.
That's cool. I would like to see that.
So we will definitely have all of Imani's contact information so that you guys, if you guys see anything that you guys are interested in or would like to reach her to do your own work,
just hit me up.
Let her know.
My name on basically everything is either Imani Montgomery or it's MME Faith Haiku, which really means Madam Faith Haiku. I don't know if you guys even knew that.
You told us before.
But
it's okay.
But
because I asked, like,
you're like, where does
the name come from? Yeah, like when we first met up.
And I've actually been thinking of like kind of switching that up a little bit, but it'll be a surprise for me and you.
Right,
got it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Rebirths,
yes.
and rebranding.
This is the year.
We're all about that.
Yes, we are.
That. Yeah. So, the last episode we did, we had Christiana. We spoke with her for a bit. She showed some work, and she actually did some work. So we're gonna try to do that with every artist, where we speak to them, catch up with them, find out what they're doing. What their thoughts and perspectives are on the art world at large. And then we'll show some of their work that they have done. And then we'll also have them showcase their skills if they want. It's no pressure.
It's no pressure.
No pressure.
You guys don't have to.
But, if they want to paint on camera and just kind of give everyone a firsthand look into how they create, that's something we'll be doing with all the artists. So
it's not just painting, drawing,
crafting.
If you crochet, if
you
anything, if you make jewelry, whatever you want. If you guys want to, little boost and get yourself out there, get yourself known, let us know. Hit us up, and we can. Her name?
Michelle
Sweetra.
Miss Sweetra.
Michelle, we're coming for you.
She does great artwork with cement, and she calls it junk art, but it does not look like junk.
It's not. It's
at
awesome
all.
art.
It's really nice stuff. But it's really just materials from the dollar store that she literally breaks up.
Or anywhere. She gets them from everywhere.
And wherever she can find stuff.
Like
she'll use those materials.
Yes.
Yeah. But those are, and they last. Like she has one thing, and
I have a paw print outside.
One of them has been outdoors for over a year, and it looks like the day she made it. Yeah. Yeah, she was like, okay,
I noticed that right away.
Now he's like, now let's put this together.
It's been out there for over a year.
Yeah,
and it looks just like it did the day she made it.
And that was from like cheap used things.
Yeah, those are like marbles, and
I might have to get it her too.
Yeah. So
it's like marbles, and
we're going to talk to her. Hopefully she's watching.
I will be watching,
and we'll have her on, and she can kind of give an idea of what she does. We can talk to her a bit. But revisiting.
Getting back to our lovely artist here, Imani, we are going to wrap up our little speech session, but hang on because we have some artwork to show you.
Coming right up,
guys. Stay tuned.
Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Rising Arts Podcast and our lovely guest.
Thank
Imani.
you.
Wonderful artist. Please check out the links in the description below.
Yes.
All the information on Imani, Phoenix 15 Studios, and any other artists we featured in all of our videos. The links are always in the description below.
Yep.
Please support them. Support us. Our goal is to support you, and you can support us, and then we can just kind of roll this thing into something bigger than we imagine it can be. So thanks again for watching.
Thank you guys.
Please like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications on our next episodes, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.